Alright guys, welcome back to another operaomnia video where we are about to talk about two characters that are featured in the upcoming Kurasame Lost Chapter event, which is of course Kurasame himself and Seifer. Kurasame is going to be getting his LD extension, his board, so on and so forth, and of course he is finally bringing his LD card ability, which is still the most top tier LD card ability till this day in JP operaomnia. And then of course Seifer, he is going to be getting his LD weapon. Now I am not going to get all hyped up, or at least try not to get too hyped up about Kurasame, because it's obvious that with Kurasame and his LD card ability, if you do watch JP gameplays, JP showcases, more than likely you would have probably seen Kurasame's LD card ability used over and over and over. Now in this video, not only will I try not to get too hyped about him, but I will focus also a good amount on Seifer, because Seifer is a character now with his LD weapon, with his LD ability. It really makes his kit much better, and it's actually a LD ability that should not be overlooked, because with his LD ability it actually makes his kit, his general kit, much better. But we'll get into that here in this video. So as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future operaomnia content. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk about Kurasame's upcoming Lost Chapter event. So let's first start off with Kurasame's LD extension. So with his LD boards, he got an increase to his own attack. And then whenever you use his LD ability, he got an increase in total brave hits, brave potency, and overflow. And he also gives himself a free ability use after you use his LD ability. Also, to his warm gaze buff that he grants himself after you use his LD ability, his warm gaze now provides the party with an ice enchant and an elemental weakness damage up. And to himself, he gives himself an elemental weakness damage up, but he actually adds on top of the percentage that he gives to the party. So the party receives a 30% elemental weakness damage up, but to Kurasame himself, he actually gets a 60% elemental weakness damage up. Now whenever you use Kurasame as an LD call, the call effects that you receive for the party gets an increase in attack, overflow, ice enchant, and elemental weakness damage up. The enemy gets the debuff, which will get an increase in HP damage taken and a speed down and an ice resist down, or ice imperil. Seifer's LD ability is a 4-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack, and he does this twice. Whenever he's attacking debuff targets, he deals weakness brave damage, and he now delays targets turn order by 1. He grants the purge buff to himself for 7 actions, and he inflicts the foul play debuff to targets for 4 actions. Now the buff that he grants to himself gives him a 20% stolen brave max brave overflow limit up. Whenever he's attacking debuff targets, he gets an increase in HP damage dealt up by 20%, and then whenever he's attacking targets afflicted with the debuff foul play, he now delays their turn order by 1 except during chase sequence, and this only occurs once per turn. Now the debuff foul play is a 40% defense down, it has a sap effect, and it also has a 30% brave recovery reduction in it. Now with his LD extension, with his LD ability, at the start of the quest, he actually starts out with the purge buff for 4 actions. The enemies start out with the foul play debuff for 4 actions, and then whenever you use his LD ability, he gets an increase in brave hits, increase in brave potency, and increase in stolen brave max brave overflow limit. His LD call ability does delay the enemy by 1 turn, and it also inflicts the foul play debuff on them as well, which does last for 4 actions. So now we get to the point of the video where I give my honest opinions on both characters, and you determine whether or not it is worth to actually pull for any of these 2 characters. Now for Kurasame, it's kind of obvious, and especially for those who did manage to pull for his LD weapon when it first came out, when his event initially came out, then you're in luck, because you don't have to worry about it, because like all you have to do is just max him out, get him to crystal level 80, and you're good to go. You have yourself the most overpowered, top tier, best card ability in the game. Now for Seifer is a whole nother story. Now I like Seifer. I wish I could have experienced Seifer, but I actually was unable to pull for his LD weapon in JP, which sucks because I did miss out on a good LD ability and a good LD call. The only reason I say this is for a couple reasons, and I think a lot of people might say that they are probably going to skip out on him for a few reasons, which I will get to as well. So with Seifer, his LD ability really makes his general kit much better because of the fact that, one, he's basically always going to be doing weakness damage. With his kit is pretty much always inflicting debuffs. His skill 1, attack down. His skill 2, max brave down. His C65, defense down. So I mean, it's pretty obvious that he is always going to be doing max brave damage, because he is going to be dealing weakness brave damage because he is going up against enemies that are debuffed. And not only that, but I mean, if you're using call abilities that inflict debuffs, then it's a guarantee that Seifer is going to be doing some good brave damage, some good weakness brave damage against the enemies. And not only that, but with his LD ability being able to delay, and since most of his kit, actually I think his entire kit really is AoE, all of the enemies are going to be delayed. You know, instead of focusing on just one, all of the enemies are going to be delayed, and that is another positive thing about him. Also, the debuff that gets inflicted from his LD ability, the sap effect, the recovery, and the defense down is a big plus. Having all of that in one debuff on a frame debuff, which I forgot to mention earlier in this video, is a big plus. And if you stack that with other debuff, with other call abilities, like let's say Jack's debuff, Ferris's debuffs, or excuse me, not debuffs, but their call abilities, you know, you can be doing much more brave damage, not just with Seifer, but with your entire team. Now, some people may try to compare him to, let's say, Garland, because like Garland has a similar type of mechanic, but not entirely, because like Garland with his LD ability, he does delay as well, and he has a follower. The thing is though, like some people might say like, well, if I have Garland, there's no point of me pulling for Seifer. Well, I mean, why not have both? You know, if you did miss out on Garland, well, you know, you have another option, which is going to be Seifer himself. And not only that, but I mean, with Seifer, you know, you don't really have too much requirements compared to like what you have with Garland, because with Garland's LD ability has a stacking type of mechanic, and you have to build that up. But with Seifer, it's pretty much right there and then. It's immediate. Once you use his LD ability, or even at the start of the battle, it's right there ready for you to use. So you have a good character if you did miss out on Garland, or if you want to combine both Garland and Seifer together, and you have yourself a good strong combination of a good delayer and a character who is always going to be dealing weakness damage. And just imagine if you were to add on top of that Garland's BT effect alongside with Seifer. You know, it's just kind of like an idea to just throw out there with Seifer. But like overall though, for like Seifer is a character that should definitely not be overlooked. Seifer is Seifer does kind of come in at a bad timing, because I mean obviously there is a banner that is coming up that a lot of players are saving up for. There is the next few months. There is the BT Plus era, the Lufenia Plus era, so on and so forth. So I know a lot of players are trying to be a little bit careful with what they are trying to do with their resources, so on and so forth. You know, I completely understand that. You know, it's understandable. But if you know, for brand new players, for players who maybe just recently started and they missed out on a character who can delay, who is able to dish out AoE damage, strong AoE damage, strong weakness, brave damage, Seifer is definitely a character to consider if you are wanting to have a character like him. But of course, like I said, I know players are saving up for other characters, so on and so forth. But in general, though, like Seifer is a character that should not be overlooked. He is a very good unit, and with his LD ability, it really complements his kit in general or overall. So, but other than that, though, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think about both of these two characters, and what are your plans for the upcoming banner. But other than that, if you guys did enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future operaomnia content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video.